Let's get started. Let's do a word of prayer, please. And Father, we thank you for this day, and thank you for the beautiful weather you're giving us. Even though it's hot, we appreciate what you give us. And Father, be with us as we conduct city business tonight, and help us conduct it in a nice manner. All these things we ask in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Carrie Brady. Jimmy.
Here.
Chris.
Here.
And Alan Moore is currently absent. All right, the first thing I got on the agenda tonight, we need our engineer here for a few minutes, and I'm gonna let him go home, so we're gonna kind of change the order. And we're going over, the city has got its sanitary survey back from the health department, and there's 12 items that need to be addressed in the sanitary survey. And usually the mayor does that on his own, but I wanted the council to kind of be aware of it and the public as to what's going on, so you kind of understand what's happening. This is water department, not sewer. This is strictly your sanitary survey. This is once every 2 years, once every 3 years. 2, Howard?
Yes, sir.
Every 2 years. And this is on file at City Hall. If anybody wants to see one of the past ones, we have to keep it on file for 10 years. So this one will go on file too. We have to have this answer within 45 days. We will not have all the work completed within 45 days. It's on this, but we will have an answer to the health department how we're going to address them. So, first on the list, number 1, the full chlorine cylinders are stored in the chlorine room with the coagulants. And this is not an isolated chemical from the rest of the other chemicals. So we're going to have to get the chlorine. It's been this way for, what, 20 years? And the health department's coming in making get chlorine out of the, you don't need chlorine in a room where you got people going in and out because of the chlorine leak. And so it's gonna, that's what we wrote up on about this. And the engineer has got some suggestions on that question, so I'll let Kiron address it. For those of you who don't know, Kiron is with A.L. Frank's Engineering. He's our city engineer.
Thank you, Mayor. Our recommendation on item 1 to remove chlorine from the existing building would be to allow us to work with the operator and develop a cost estimate over the next 30 days to potentially install a new fiberglass building that is strictly for chlorine outside of the existing building and replumb everything so that you can move all your chlorine cylinders out of the existing water building and into the fiberglass building. That would strictly be for chlorine only. This would allow to not only keep all your chemicals separately, but it would also improve your health and safety for your operators by not having them operate in the same building as your chlorine gas, which is hazardous.
Okay? Anyway, this may not be, this, you went online, Karen went online today, and I gave you a little drawing. It'd be less than an 8 by 10 room, fiberglass room that delivered all in one piece, and that's kind of what it would look like. But what the engineer's asking for and what we turn in on our facility, on our report back to the health department, I would like permission for the health department to approve the engineer and our water plant operator to develop a plan and bring back to us at a later date. Do I have a motion on that effect, please? This is gonna be a recommendation, you're not voting to do it right now. You're voting on the for them to bring us what they feel we need to do.
Oh, the health department?
No, the health department's already told us, we need to get the engineer to come back to us and give us an idea of what the cost, of what we need to do, because we're not, this little building is one of them, and they've done this, the engineer's done this in a couple of other cities already, but he wanted us just to develop, give them the authority to get a plan to bring back to us, and that's all we're approving in that. All in favor, roll call please.
Chris Fuller,
Aye.
Jimmy Clark,
Yes.
Terry Brady.
Okay, number 2 on the list, the bench top turbidity meter was out of calibration on the low end. Filter 2 turbidity meter was out of calibration on the high end. These turbidities need to be recalibrated, if not done so already. Turbidity calibration should be included in the monthly operation report when done. Howard is our water operator. Would you address this, please?
Yes, sir. The bench top turbidimeters, the other turbidimeter was Hawk Company. We have a contract with Hawk Company, and they came and recalibrated those. And then the turbidimeter calibrations included on the monthly reports have been done.
Okay, so Hawk has already come and we've already completed this task.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can put on that report on that on number 2. Hawk has already come in. We have them under contract up there to do the maintenance on all that stuff. And they have come in and done the maintenance on that, so that's already taken care of. Number 3, we recommend that the system take 2 back samples in the city and 2 back samples in the rural area each month. Howard, where are we at on getting that done?
We can do that in the next sample site. And next time I take samples, we can just start doing that.
Council, that's, that'll just be a fee that, who's doing it, Arkansas Analytics? Who's pulling those samples for you?
No, these are samples that I pulled.
Sir?
These are samples that I.
Okay, those are samples that you pulled, Howard pulled? You okay with that answer? Howard start pulling this month. That's where I need to answer that. So, we'll start doing this month.
Do we change the location of these in the wall this month?
That's gonna be question 4.
They'll have to call and tell them.
Question 4. System should look at adding 1 backside in the Hop area near 5 Mile Creek north of Glenwood on Arkansas 8 and 1 on Sweetwater Creek west of Glenwood on US Highway 7. 3 existing back sites are in the city, should be inactivated to account for the newer, or activated, or to account for the newer site if necessary. Or you take some of them off, I guess is what that's saying in the city, if you just won't keep 3, right? You can take 1 or 2 down in the city, but he wants some in the rural. What's y'all's wishes on that?
Where are all the back P sample sites at now, Howard, in county?
You want me to name them all? I don't know if I can remember them all. One's at City Hall, one's at the park, one's at the nursing home. There's one on Davis.
Can you talk a little louder, Howard? We can't hear you.
So one's on Davis, let's see, one's at Kegel Tank. I don't remember them all, there's like 11.
You still doing it at the rest area? Or did they take that one out?
No, we took that one off.
Okay.
Grace Church.
Yes.
Moved it to
Baptist
Grace
Church,
Church,
okay.
yeah, so we have that one.
Okay, so we're pulling 11 samples now. Do we want to continue to pull 11 and have him change to, or do we want to start pulling 13? That's gonna be the question, right? The way I read this, we can drop 2 in town.
You can drop 2 that are closer together than what he's already sampling. And then you'll have Ketel, and then you'll have, you're going down Hopper, correct?
Hopper's one of the ones we're gonna add.
That's what I'm saying. And you're already, so you're,
I don't see any reason to drop any, really, I mean, it gives us more options, right?
Are you doing those samples? Or are we, is the
Me
lab
taking
gonna
them
do
back.
those? You take them and then the lab does them? or-
Yes, sir.
What's the council's wishes on number 4? We can drop 2, but we gotta add 2, but, or we can just add 2. We take 11 now.
We're gonna have to add what they said here.
Yes, but you could drop 2 in city if you wanted
Close
to.
together, like he said, not equal.
if you got 2 that's repetitive,
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 2 that's repetitive now, Howard. that's close together?
I don't think I know of two that are really.
Don't drop it.
Yeah.
Then don't drop it.
Do 13? Okay, so on that answer, we'll just pick up the 2 new sites. Correct?
Three new sites, yes, sir.
3 new sites.
Yeah, Hopper, 5 Mile, and Seaward.
Okay. The Kennedy pump station is no longer needed, system must physically disconnect it from the system. Kennedy pump station was told not to be run, but Kennedy pump station is coming back online. Howard's asked that we go through and do the maintenance on it, bring it back online. It's a backup pump station, it's on a different electrical circuit than, Twin Bridges. And the pumps were rebuilt to handle that, several years ago, and it just needs, to me, it needs to be in the system because it's sitting there, it's not costing anything, it's in the system. We need to be using it, it's not been used now in 4 years, it just needs to be put back in line. So if y'all are okay with that,
Has the problem been fixed that we had before with that pump station, since we moved that back in?
no problem.
Well, the overpressure problem.
We don't think that's an issue with the one house, we never had an issue with it anywhere else, it shouldn't be an issue.
I don't want to sneak up on it.
We'll, before they turn it on, we'll get the city guys out there and watch it, make sure everything's cool. Bring it back to you. It's in the back of your calendar, it's in, the sides are right there. Y'all good with that? You good with 5 being put back in service, or 5 being put back in service? All right.
I don't want to lose that pump station, you guys need.
Okay, the industrial park has a standalone letter set right under the tank ladder. At the time of the survey, the letter should be removed. They're no longer in use on this site.
Yes, they are removed.
Is what?
They are removed.
It's already done, okay. 6 is already taken care of. The Burnham Mountain tank did not have a letter cover, a new one should be put on to produce, prevented unwanted flames on the tank. And Kiron was talking today, we've got the people coming to do the tank washout and cleaning. They can put it on, or have you already got Bubba spray lined up?
I've got him lined out, but he's tied up, and we tied up for a little bit, so.
All right, they can, did you say, Kiron, they probably could just bring one?
They probably can, if they're planning to be here in the next 3 or 4 weeks to start on that, so it's whatever you want me to tell him, I mean, if you wanna add that to that, you can, if you wanna wait on your guys.
It's, but that would be a stock one, would it? That'd be a stock piece, like that's what it's made for, correct?
It'd be like a stainless steel gate that attaches to the ladder and locks.
Probably do if they got, instead of having one fabricated.
Okay. So, since they're coming to clean, inspect and clean all of our tanks, we're under contract with, and we need to put that in our answer back on sanitary survey. All of our tanks are gonna be taken out of service, cleaned, inspected, and put back in service, and then they'll come back to the city with what needs to be done to them after that time. And when did you say, you talked to the contractor on that, Karen, when did you think you was gonna get started on that?
He's thinking he's gonna get started in 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay. So we'll have one tank out of line, out of service at a time while they, clean them and inspect them. We'll only take one down at a time. So we've already worked, that's already something the city's approved, and that's the reason we weren't rolled up in it, because they'd asked about that. Dean had asked us about that when he come down the other day, and we told him we already had that bid, so he didn't put in our sanitary survey. But let's go ahead and put the answer back in there that we're doing it, so.
So you do want them to do that work?
Yes.
Lear?
Lear, yes. Sir,
Yes.
he'll put the cover on it, is what he'll do. All right, number 8, the system should develop a valve exercise program / replacement program. The city has quit doing, that, and that's just something we're gonna have to get back on, and get back in service and start doing exercise on all our valves. Need to get on a basis where they're being exercised twice a year. That's just, we'll just put in there, that's just maintenance that has quit being done, that needs to be started back. There may be one thing that we'd like to add to that at that time. That's up to the council, it's not a decision to make tonight, but we need to get not a Garmin to scan it, but a Trimble, I think, is that what you're saying, one of the brands?
That's one of the brands.
To, well, when they go out to the valves, they can GPS them and they're within a foot. Right now, we're within about 10 foot. So if the valve gets lost, we don't know where it is. And if you do that and then get that machine, we can also GPS all the meters with serial numbers on the paperwork. That's something we need to be thinking about. As we start this process, we need to get a piece of equipment we don't have there, but we don't have to do that tonight, so I need to be thinking on that. Yes.
Arkansas Rural Water will also come out and do that. Arkansas Rural Water will come out and do that.
Help us on that some, yes. So we'll look at that as we develop that on that, but that's just a,
I'd like to see something attached to that, because I hear that all the time, we're not, but we gotta do it. I'd like to see something to the plan to have it done.
we get that.
That's what we say.
A lot of this maintenance is just gotta be, we're getting a lot of stuff started, but we're way behind. Okay, next thing on the list, system needs to update long-range plan. We have a 20-year master plan that is about 25 years old. Kiron, would you explain how the health department's looking at master plans, or long-range plans?
Yes, sir. So, basically what we would recommend putting together at this time is a 10-year master plan. So we would take your old master plan that's existing and update it, and then kind of do a water plan for the next 10 years. And, it's our understanding that the health department wants us to start putting together 10-year plans and then update those every 5 years. So this would kind of be your first, 10-year plan, and then we would wanna come back and relook at that 5 years from now. But that is something that the council wants, we can, put together a work order and get started on the 10-year plan to turn into the health department. And it will take a little bit to develop, we'll send this letter back, you know, and let them know we're going to develop it, but it will take a little while and some planning to get that put together.
I need to vote on that. Cause that's gonna cost a little money.
Okay.
These 12 items you pretty much got to do. But could I have a vote on that to do a long-range, plan with A.L. Franks? Get them to develop it for us. Have a second? Roll call, please.
Chris Fuller. Jimmy Clark. Gary Brady.
The next thing, system needs to create a new emergency plan. The city is working, and I'm gonna get Karen to explain the ADEQ plan. We're working on getting that implemented already, but that is probably not going to address all this. Karen, would you explain ADEQ to us all, and then, I think that's gotta be done, but I think this emergency plan for the water is gonna be a little different, and gotta have some more work done. Would you explain ADEQ, because you're working on it right now?
The ADEQ is just a business continuity plan, just like any business, when you go to the bank to get a loan, they wanna know what is your business continuity plan? How do you plan on continuing in the event of a disaster? So we address all those items that would have to do with if a major disaster hit here, say Billy's not available, you can pick up the book and see where you are, who's to be contacted, and all your resources. Same way, if Brenda is not available, Miranda can pick it up and see what is Brenda's responsibility. It's not a book that's out there for public viewing. It is there for the event of an emergency. It has, we talk about cybersecurity in it, we talk about COVID, we talk about the emergency operations plan, we talk about a bomb threat. Different things like that is in this book. But we can also address the water plant and what we would do in the event if something happens there. If you think that that would help cover what they're wanting.
All right, Karen, I'm not sure I understand what health department is looking in an emergency plan. Could you explain what you think they're looking for?
So
Is
what, typically emergency plans we've worked on, over the last year and a half, they typically wanna know, everything about your water system, the number of tanks, the size of tanks, the number of backup generators. If you have ample fuel for the generator stored on site, how many hours or days worth of fuel do you have? Who are your operators, who are your backup operators? What equipment do you have for, emergency repairs? Basically, who's your, electrical providers? Who are your, in contacts for all those, providers that you would need in a time of an emergency, such as 2 years ago when we had the week-long snowstorm that, I think that's what spurred a lot of these emergency plans for water systems, is that storm. And, so basically it outlines all of that information in one, a report that we can give to the health department, you can have here, and it's kind of just your emergency response plan, preparedness plan for your water system. And there's some go-bys and, that the health department's put out that we can make sure we give it to them in the exact form they want.
All right, any questions? That's something we're gonna need to vote on, because Frank's, he's gonna get Frank, because what Karen's doing in ADEQ is not covering all of that, but we can attach it to the ADEQ.
Right.
Correct,
You
am I
have to
understanding?
have an ADEQ plan to receive money from the state, so every year when you're audited, they wanna see your ADEQ plan.
We can put this in with the ADEQ.
I don't see why not.
Okay. But it's different.
It is different.
Okay. Do I get a vote on letting Al Franks do the emergency plan here? A motion for Al Franks to do the emergency plan, we have a second. All, roll call please.
Chris Fuller,
Aye.
Jimmy Clark, Gary Brady.
Okay. I'll address the next one. System should investigate ways to reduce unaccounted for water. Currently, they are revamping the leak detection program to reduce unaccounted for water. We have bought the equipment and are started doing testing. We need to get more man hours on it. But we have found some leaks, and the city now has the equipment to do that and the personnel to do that. And we are working on that. But we've got other things to do, and we need, which one's the biggest priority? So, but we do have the equipment now, and they have used it, and found some weeks it needs to be used. I wish we used it every day. If we had a manpower used every day, it'd be nice, but we don't. So we are working, the city has bought equipment, and the city crews are working on that. Number 12, Brett, system needs backup distribution operator with at least a D2 license. Where are we at on that, please?
I'll have at least 3 licensed by November. Be the closest I can get them licensed. I should be licensed by the end of next month.
All right. Since January, we've got every employee got going to class, and as much as we can get them in class, we didn't have hardly anybody licensed. By the end of the year, we should have several licenses to get ADEQ and health department off our back. But I think, Karen, do you think if we're gonna have 3 by November, we'll be okay giving that credential?
I think so, and if, we'll put that in there, that there's, you said 3?
3?
3 city employees currently, going through the licensing process, and, if they respond and that's not sufficient, we'll address it at that time. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Okay. And then under public, we'll get this typed up and out. We've got 45 days from August the 3rd, so that addresses all of that, so we'll get that done within 45 days. And then there's noted here, Glenwood Water Department is required by public law 93-532 to keep copies of this survey for a minimum of 10 years. This survey should be filed at a central location which will be accessible to the public. Brenda has a copy of that right now, I think, and we definitely have it at the water plant. As of tomorrow morning, it'll be in the water department office. Howard will bring it up here with copies of it made and make sure that the last 10 years worth of that work is in the water department office if anyone wants to see it. So that addresses the facility plan. I mean, the sanitation survey, excuse me. Next thing on the list, which y'all know we've got approved for the water and sewer projects. And I just wanted Kiron, there's gonna be some more information in here from the lawyers tonight, and from Stevens tonight for you to look at. But I wanted Kiron to kind of address the direction that we need to go to start getting these projects ready. They're not ready to be bid yet. Got work to do, but he's gonna give y'all a idea of what he thinks we need to do on these projects. First, Kiron, would you address the water project?
Yes, sir. So basically on the water, at this point on both projects, we're in a waiting game. Your paperwork's been turned back into ANRC, so we're kind of waiting on ANRC to begin the next steps in the process, whatever they need before we can begin design. As far as the water is concerned, that is your water treatment plant project. So as soon as they release us on that, we can begin that design upgrades there. Any questions on that water section?
That's gonna be the clear well and whatever.
And then all the piping that goes with it.
Filters, clear well, and then building form beams. On the sewer, our recommendation.
Can't be, that's gonna be a public bill, that's a public building, we talked about that, but that, we gotta get the chlorine out of where people are. Sorry. That's a good question.
Yeah, we discussed that, that's a possible option, but I just don't think it's gonna work out time. For the sewer, our recommendations, we're in the same place on the sewer, waiting on ANRC to begin those next steps. For the sewer, obviously, we'll not pay for the entire sewer collection system to be replaced, so our recommendation would be, that we'll work alongside, city personnel and folks that have a working knowledge of what's in the ground, using the old map, and we would start that by replacing the oldest, most problematic pipes, which are both, I think there's a lot of truss pipe and a lot of clay pipe that you have issues with, so that would be, the first areas we focus on replacement, and then after all that, if we can replace all that, we'll move into the areas that are PVC, but that, again, the operators, have a knowledge that you have more issues in those areas. If there are some questions on some of those lines, you know, me and Billy talked about possibly having the rural water come in and do some camera work, to check some of those lines and see which may be worse. And also, as part of that project, as we replace the sewer mains, we will be replacing the manholes along with it, so.
Okay, that kind of give you an idea of the direction we're gonna start heading on those projects. We've got some more paperwork in the packet tonight to tell you when the lawyer, how he's gonna proceed, or how they're gonna proceed, how Stevens is proceeding, and the time schedule, that goes on out to this. Hopefully by March is when we hope to have it all in place from the looks of the paperwork I'm seeing right now. So we can start proceeding on with the other projects, because we have to be under construction by June 30th or June 1st.
I believe it was the 30th, but they said on the bigger.
So they put you on a real tight schedule on this money. And that may be on down in the minutes tonight, the loans are in the paperwork tonight. These loans will be set up for these projects, and there'll be a draw on those. So if the project come in, for instance, if the sewer lines, we get the sewer line work done, we don't need all the money that was allocated in the loan, you won't draw that down, you'll never pay interest on it, they just redo so you can't, and it can't be for anything but sewer lines and manholes, that's it, can't do anything else, that's what the money was set aside for. If we don't need what they set aside, all of it, then you won't draw it down, the city will never have that money, it'll just be on a draw, it needs to be like a draw note, and then when you're done, it'll be done, and that's all the money you borrow on both the water project and the sewer project. So we'll never have the money in our hands, we won't be paying any interest on it until we get it, until the draws are done. But you may not draw all that down because we haven't bid the jobs yet. This is an engineer's estimate of the work, and if you don't go over, you won't borrow all of it, okay? All right. Does that get pretty much everything on that? Y'all got any other questions with the engineer? He's got to drive back to Texarkana. I'm gonna try to let him go home. Y'all have any more questions on him tonight? Does anybody have any more questions that you'd like to ask the engineer in the audience or up here? Sir, you're welcome to go home.
Thank you.
All right. The next thing on your list, there's a sheet y'all have to put together for, we want to keep a little bit of order in our meetings. All it says is, audience needs to sign in. Not allowed to speak in the meeting unless addressed by the mayor or overseer of the meeting. If you're asked to speak, you are more than welcome to speak. And sign in speakers will speak at the end of the council meeting, and they'll have 3 minutes to address each subject they signed in for. Is that the way I want that to read?
Yeah, someone raised their hand, we can ask a question.
Yes.
That's all I want. People, they can still ask.
Correct. Y'all good with that? I think I had it implemented that way before in the past administration anyway, so. All right. Approval of minutes for, July 18th.
This says August 22nd.
Okay, so we need to change that. The August 22nd needs to say July 18th, correct? So we need to amend that to July 18th.
Cause you go in and you get the other ones, you know what I mean? You use that format.
I've been sitting here looking for that's fine.
Okay.
You were not, and it's noted in there that you were not here.
That's all I'm saying.
Make a motion to approve the July 18th minutes.
You have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Please.
Okay, Jimmy Clark, Terry Brady, Chris Fuller.
Okay. All right. Your balance sheets are in front of you for both June and July. There should be two of them. She's still got, you got the other one? Oh, he started around on that. Okay. All right, June balance sheets in front of you, that's the money already spent. I've got your profit and loss statements, actually, we're gonna vote on, look at that tonight, we haven't been doing that, because I don't get them every month, but we've got them ready for us tonight. Or where we are in the budget, actually. So, June financial, balance sheet.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion approved June financials, second, or balance sheet, excuse me.
I'll second.
Motion is second, roll call please.
Gary Brady, Jimmy Clark,
Aye.
Chris Ford.
Okay. July balance sheet is in front of you. You make the motion accept, July's balance sheet, second.
Second.
Chris seconded, roll call please.
Gary Brady, Jimmy Clark,
Aye.
Chris Ford.
Okay, next you have the, that's the budget. You're running the budget, sheets in front of you on the, general street fund and general fund, and he did not get water, or did he? He's got water in there too. He told me he knows he's gonna get water in there, but it's in there. We're looking back in, street, we have got, all the money paid out on the hazardous mitigation grant, and none of it's back. So that'll be around about $300,000 that will be coming back in the street fund that's already been paid out. We had to pay that when the state reimbursed you, and we don't have any reimbursement on that money. The sidewalk projects, the reimbursement money is back in here, correct? So, but your $300,000 on the hazardous mitigation money has been paid out, so that'll come back into the street fund. But it's paid out, not there yet. And then, like the sidewalk projects, we'll have to pay those percentages out, and then you'll get reimbursed back on an 80-20 basis through the rest of those projects. Looking at general fund, the budget was put together to be passed, and you knew it was going to bust on it. This busting looked like you thought it was going to. And also, general fund has that 50,000 taken out of it along the street department till that money comes back in, then that'll come back in. So you have $50,000 more back in your income on the general fund when that money comes back in, because they'll have more cash and CD in on the street department. Yep. They had extra money from last year, but they did lose money. Then when you get over to street fund, you also gotta remember that this year's budget, all the sidewalk projects were approved in prior year budgets, but it's all gonna come out of this year's budget. So you're gonna look kind of crazy. You didn't overspend in those prior years because you didn't have the projects on, but it was in your budget. And so this year, it's gonna be spent. So that's why that looks a little bit bigger. Since we haven't been having these, well, go and take these home, that is where you are at the budget for the year, and look at that, and if y'all wanna do anything on the budget, you need to let us know next month. And we'll start addressing the issue, if there's any issues you wanna be addressing, we can address them next month, since y'all haven't seen this. Fred, let's try to start getting these out to you every month, so you can see them. Okay? You want to table it, just let motion table it, take motion table it. Okay? Got a second?
Second.
You have got to remember that your property taxes don't come in till after October.
Yeah.
Then you
General fund ain't got
so
any
it's gonna be
in yet.
out of whack looking, so just remember that.
Roll call on that one.
Yes, please.
Terry Reed. Jimmy Clark. Chris Moore. All in favor, say aye.
All right, the next is this, the questionnaire. Y'all wanna look at that? That was just from the lawyer. It's a questionnaire I had to fill out. There's not anything to vote on it. I just put it in your packet. It's a questionnaire on starting all the bond issue work. We had to fill out some, had to give her some old ordinances, and, all that's just the paperwork she needed to get started. It was mostly fill in the blanks for what the lawyer was asking for. I just put it in your packet so you have it. If you wanna know any of the questions she's asking, it's all in there. There's not really anything to vote on there, it's just, I just gave you that information, unless y'all want to discuss something in it. If y'all won't bring anything back, there's nothing to vote on it, it's just, she was just asking information, that's all that is. Okay? Okay, next thing on the list, you notice the camera up there, the city is recording now, we're trying to get our webpage set back up. We're not getting real far along with it, but we've got we're recording the meetings and, video in the meetings. If anybody wants to link to it, hopefully DJ can get that, when we get the city's website back up, you'll get that where you just click on it, but right now, it's https, :// www.youtube.com// City of Glenwood. Anybody can teach that, I'll be happy to give it to you. But that's, if you wanna look at the city council meeting from now on, they'll be on YouTube anytime you wanna get them, you go and access them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they'll all be that way from this point forward, unless something were to break down or something. But that's the intent, is to have them all there. There's nothing to vote on that, that's just there. Next thing on the agenda, back in January, Resolute come in, they need a new set of bathrooms, and wants to do the, meter tap farm, they're supposed to pay us for it. They did the meter tap, they have to pay for it. I would like y'all's permission to put the $700 tapping fee on their water bill this month. If it's not paid, we turn their water on. They were supposed to already have a check on it, and they've changed people up there about 3 times since January. And so, to me, the easiest thing to do is just put it on the water bill. If y'all will make a motion to do that, we'll put it on the water bill this month, that's $700. They had already agreed upon it, we've already made the tap, they're already using it, they just haven't paid for the service. Do you have a second?
Okay, so
Roll call.
Chris Moore. Jim Clark. Joe Brady.
All right. Also in Resolute, on their sewer bill, they were supposed to send a letter in January agreeing that if they did not take over the maintenance of that lift station, we'd start billing on their monthly sewer bill a fee above and beyond a sewer bill like everybody else pays. That pump was how much without installation?
$56.50 went out, before tax.
So $6,000, and it was about $2,000 to get it installed, right? So you're looking at $8,000. The gentleman did our rate study, has looked at this, and he said you don't need an ordinance on this, it's a service fee, and you need to take that and divide it out by 3 years and put that have a sewer bill plus a sewer service charge on their bill, and you needed to take those two numbers, $8,000 divided by 36 months, and that would be their service fee for keeping that pump station up. So what is $8,000 divided by 36 months? Sir? How much?
$222.22.
So I would like $222.22, and that would be a service fee because they haven't agreed to take over the maintenance of that lift station. It's costing the city that much extra money on that lift station to keep it up because they're giving you high pH in the lift station. And this was something they had agreed upon doing, and they were told if they didn't do it in January, pay for putting the new pump in, they would start building parts. So it'd be simpler just to put it in there because we're going to take care of the maintenance of it anyway. So we have a motion for that. It'll be listed as a service fee flat rate for $222.22. Is that what you said, Chris?
Yes,
Do I have a motion to put that on their sewer bill every month?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second? All in favor, roll call please.
Joe Brady. Jim Clark. Chris Moore.
Okay. Next on the list, is a bill for 4 of the VFDs that are out. I'd like y'all to approve those. Done a verbal phone call with all y'all, they had to be ordered, we gotta get the pumps back working. And the cost of those 4 VFDs are $29,600. Y'all give me a vote to approve the purchase of those 4 VFDs.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Sir, it should be, it should be both of them. But anyway, I missed you with one. You need, you okay with that? That will do the high service pumps and the Twin Bridges pump station. And we still like the 2 at Hilltop. But the 2 at Hilltop will be about the price, they'll be about $5,100 a piece. We actually have 3 pumps down right now that we get these installed. And on the ones at the water plant, according to the company in Dallas that looked at the VFDs that were in there, they said they had a high surge of the electricity and the work order should come back, but they're not repairable. And if y'all want, we'll turn those in and see what the insurance does on those. Because they said those were both were high surge of electricity went through them. They're not saying whether it was a high surge voltage to the power line or whether it was lightning. So I don't know, but we will turn that in when we get that bill back, to the insurance, because that's $20,000.
Is there anything we put in place to prevent that from happening again, Bill?
Yes, we're getting that done as we speak. It's not that expensive to put some rheostats in there, and they're, have DJ, or TJ has got that ordered, it's not, we gotta get it put in, we can't keep spending $20,000 if there's a sewer thing, or the water thing. Do they have a motion and second on that?
I got Chris already made the motion for the VFD pumps.
Jim made a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Terry Gray, Jimmy Clark, Chris Wood. All in favor?
Okay, this next one is a final bill on something that was approved before I got mayor, and I just wanted y'all to make sure to know that's the final bill. The pumps are rebuilt at Sanitary lift station, and that $67.75 is the final payment on that one. So if y'all please approve that. That was done before I was ever here as mayor.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Terry Gray, Jimmy Clark, Chris Wood.
Aye.
All in favor, that's it.
The next thing on your list, as we're starting to move to get City Hall moved next door, there's some new equipment that's gotta be bought, for communications at the water plant and at the sewer plant and at, the work, the shop.
Street shop.
$1,784.07. This equipment needs to be purchased to get it to communicate with everything as we get moved. And this should be the last of the equipment. That's gonna be way cheaper than the $17,000. I spent, about $6,000 over there in this, and the other bid was $17,000. So you're gonna be out about, around $8,000 to get the equipment. And this equipment wasn't in that bid.
What is this for again? To do what?
This is to put new routers at the, water plant, sewer plant. And yes, because we're changing, we're gonna get rid of the maintenance contract we got on board. And this gets the equipment to where it's more secure, and that's the last of the equipment you need to buy for that. And get water plant, sewer plant. One thing that we're trying to get done, not trying to get done, we're working on, and it'll be public information when we get it done. When we get the water plant, sewer plant, and all that, your daily op sheets are gonna be, if they want to see what's going on in sewer plant, they go to the city webpage. We've got the page built, but it's not available to the public yet. And if you want to click on the maintenance at the water plant, you can see everything he's done today. See every gallon of water he's made, same thing at sewer plant, same thing at all the lift stations. Everything's gonna be fully visible. And slow getting implemented because city don't have an IT guy. We're using DJ, Chris at the store. When he got some time, he's working on the stores. Our DJ store, not Chris, I'm sorry, DJ. Getting this stuff put in, but that will be one of the things, this communication will let us. Yes. Over there. Just pretty good.
What's the deal for the shop?
It's gonna be one of those switches. You gotta have 3 switches to communicate with over there. You got 3 different switches, 417, 417, and 330. And then he's hooking up the fiber, those are the fiber cables to hook it up with.
I guess I'm confused, where they communicate for?
All the record keeping is at the water plant, all the record keeping in the sewer plant, all the
They're all
tied in.
inside the one? Okay. I was gonna say, I think, why can't they communicate?
Well, as the operator logs his information in and deploys it,
Okay.
then if somebody in town wants to see what happened at the water plant today, it's gonna be wide open. They can't do anything but look at it, but they can look at the information. That's not all. He has the screen up, it could all be working right now. We talked to the water operator, sewer operator, and we're starting to put that information in as we speak. It's not all built out right now.
So when Howard does the samples, and when you see it in the location.
Yes. Or the public will be able to see it. They click on the city's website, go to the water department, click down there on where you're gonna click on, it's gonna have a list of everything, it's gonna all be there. Okay? switch.
Or what, at the shop?
Because all the time clock and all that's trying to come in back up here to get it off.
So that, the time clock and everything's at the shop?
Yes. The time clock at the shop is going in, they've got time clock working, but we're dropping off line, but it's right now the way it's working, and they'll get a switch to make it off the meter. Okay? We're good with that or not?
I'll make that motion to accept it.
Have a second? Roll call?
Jimmy Clark,
Aye.
Chris Wood,
Aye.
Terry Brady.
Okay. The next thing on your list is a letter I had to sign. I'd like y'all to vote on it since we've already voted on the sales tax election. But this is the notice for the lawyer to give, she told me I had to get this done by August 18th, so I signed it. But I need y'all's approval on it because we can get it all stopped, I guess. But this is a letter to give notice to Natural Resource that we're gonna call the two bonds and get those paid off so we can get the other projects, bond work set up, but this has to be done first. So that is, I would like y'all to approve the letter I already had to sign, the lawyer's gonna have to sign it on the 18th. But like, this is just, if you look at all that back behind it, it's the voter count for all the votes and everything that went on the election attached to it. Vote for precincts, and that was all sent to Natural Resource. It's everything we just did in the election. That's all the counts, all the awards and everything.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Jay made the motion, Chris seconded, roll call please.
Terry Brady, Jimmy Clark,
Aye.
Chris Wood, aye.
Next thing on your list is not necessarily to be voted on. It is our second letter from ADEQ, on everything that was going on the pond issue. They want us to come into Little Rock and have a meeting, and we are not going to Little Rock to have a meeting, they're gonna come down here because they're gonna look at everything. We have since found where the E. coli was coming from, had nothing to do with the pond. The problem has been taken care of. I would like to leave it at that because it involves an individual of the city. I really want, if ADQ wants to get them in trouble, they can, but I'm leaving it alone. But the problem has been fixed, and the pond has been took out. And when it rained, the pond overflowed, it's getting all city sewer. We finally found it, but anyway, it's fixed, and we want ADQ to come down here and have our hearing, final hearing on all this, with them down here to look at the issues. And we have sent them a letter, that we don't wanna meet in Little Rock, we wanna meet down here. And so the volley is back in there for it again. But that is all the correspondence on that, if you want to look at, it's yours to look at. And up there's all the correspondence. Nothing to vote on there, cause they'll come down and we'll have the final, the pond's back in service to the end of the year. The way they wrote the letter right now, the pond's fine, back in service, it's in service anyway, it's in service to the end of the year. At the end of the year, we're gonna address it. It'll have to be taken out of service, and we'll talk to them about that sewer project. See if we can get the pond to stay online without, I mean, I don't really feel like going there and spending $500,000 on the pond today, but I don't know, they're saying you gotta do 4 samples and all that, you're gonna keep it in service, but that's all in there. And I do not have a meeting set with them yet down here. It was not that they won't come down here, there's not a problem with coming down here, they just asked to come up here and engineers rather than be down here to look at everything. It's easier to look at it down here than it is at a desk in Little Rock. The August 23rd DMR, without our compliance with the sewer plant, we had .02, which is the legal part of chlorine to go into the river, and we also had fever. Imagine that. So all we can do is say, hey, we're at legal limit on the amount of chlorine you let us leave, and we're over on people. We think the problem with this was when we emptied that pond, and sent all the sewer plant, we sent a lot more, sludge out there than the sewer plant was used to handling, and that's probably where this, dust come from, but there again, we can't believe we're at the legal limit on our chlorine at .02, legal plant. Chlorine kills the coli. Can't have any chlorine, you probably don't have a coli, but in that month, it was the worst month, so that's just a letter on that explaining the non-compliance, nothing to vote on that. Joe Patrick is not here on pickleball, is he? Okay. Jimmy Clark for dumpster. I don't know what that's about, but that's up to you.
I just wanted to bring it to, I wish Alan was here too, but, we purchased those dumpsters here a while back, and I was just wanting to see what y'all thought. I called around to all the other people that rent dumpsters and stuff, and I just want to see if we maybe come up with something where like an individual wants to rent one, what we would charge, and et cetera, because I've had quite a few people saying that they're tired of, they don't have a place to go dump, every time they go up there, all of them are full and they can't dump. And so why can't they just rent one and put it in their own personal place, fill it up, so they ain't gotta worry about keeping driving down the city all day and see it full.
So, three dumpsters, so we can't keep them empty.
I know, I'm just bringing it up, so.
We bought 3 dumpsters and we're emptying them about once a week, take them down to the landfill.
Boy just sold his, so no one else in town is gonna be able to, just a thought.
I don't know what the answer on that is, but I mean, if we take one out of service and put it in a customer house, and we're paying employees to go, I don't know what the answer to that is.
Cause I had one call me, he said he went for a week and a half, and it's the same 3 stayed full. I know they're still up every night that much,
No, they're not, just,
so just.
okay.
See what y'all's thoughts on it.
It just seems like to me, if we're gonna start renting these things out, we're gonna have to get more dumpsters out
That's
there.
right, you brought up, I mean, a lot of them say, you're going to it, we're not cleaning up, but we have nowhere to clean up. Just bring them for it, but.
And if we do that, then that's gonna take almost a full-time employee just moving the dumpsters to landfill.
I don't think they're gonna rent that much.
How long does it take them to do a turnaround on a dumpster? You're out 4 hours, 5 hours.
To get one there and back,
Yeah. I don't know what you.
about 3.5 hours.
Think you got one about Nashville?
You got time in the dump and all that, loading and unloading.
All right. Alan's not here for whatever the one pad Facebook is, so we'll get that next time. Sharon's Freedom of Information Act letter with all of the attached. I actually went in and got, Brandon to look up the statute so everybody knows what it is. It's all in the packet. And the reason it was done the way it was done, that's from the municipal league yourself, and all the paperwork to go with it, if anybody wants to look at it. Nothing to vote on there, y'all just need to know what is in there. Unless you got something else you want to discuss on it.
Is this the one where she requesting the water customer?
Yes. Anyway, it's all there. Next thing on the list, just a matter of information, Jason Hallgrove, how did you Oslo. This is his schedule of the bond work that he's gonna do, and it gives you the dates that's got to be met, to get that done. That's just an information sheet that I got from him today. Okay? Any discussion on that? I mean, that's just his information sheet. I don't think there's anything we're supposed to. Next sheet, Fireman's Pension Fund. I met with the boys on the retired pension fund. And this was a discussion that they had in their meeting. You see the ones present there. The city's pension fund with what Lofty's been taking away from us, I think we're down to what, $16,000 in there. And that's the month that you're paying out each month before you get your returns back on your investment. We're solid for probably about the next 10 or 12 years. At that point in time, they just turned it back over to Lofty. They took all your money anyway. Or you can turn it over to Lofty today, and the board decided they didn't want to do that. So, we'll keep paying the way we are, and that money is sitting in some,
This bill at, trash swap.
that swap. They've got our money, and they make the payments on that. That's just information if y'all wanted to see it, okay?
How many of y'all are left?
There's a check there for every one of them each, that's what the monthly check is right there, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and when it gets to 4, you automatically lose it anyway. So, they took the rest of the money, so. Okay. The next one on your list, you know, we've been discussing Mary Street tank that's not working and not communicating. We went up there and took instrument supplies, equipment off, and had rains put on. Rain didn't communicate with anything, and these leaks we're having, it's on Mary Street tank. We couldn't see it. We was having to get burn them out the tank to send a notification. So we were losing $500,000 to 600,000 gallons of water before we ever got a call. So I called instrument supply, and he explained to me what was going on. And I said, we need to come down, let's either get married back or have a divorce. So we're married back, and all they had to do on the leak control system over there is just turn it back on. So it didn't replace a piece of it. And if you look at the $804 transducers that are on that, we bought 3 transducers on that deal for $804 a piece. That's one transducer with each frequency that the city runs on. So if we have a breakdown in the water tank, we can go put it back on. The city always has had a spare one, we didn't have any spares. But we do have a spare transducer for each for water levels that are different tanks. So that's what the $804 a piece is for the transducers. And the rest of that was for later to come down and figure out how to turn it all back on, but there was nothing, no parts out at the tank other than instrument supplies had been unhooked and range had been hooked up, and we weren't getting any readings from the range. Okay? That's a $4,000 expense I spent, so with the transducers and all, so you'll have to vote on that as you want. But that does work now. Thank you, back working. Yep, I do, but let's just leave that alone. That's administration. All right, the next $11,000 bill, the high service, one of the high service motors burned out. It's 125 horsepower motor. Did y'all want to vote on that or not? I have put vote on it, I want to do that. Y'all, that's information I want to vote on it. I just wanted you to know what was going on there, but that's fine. Instrument supplies back doing our all of our telemetry on all of our water plants. It's all talking. It's all talking, it's all working. And he said, now that we have an understanding, I will be down here, get your stuff fixed like you need to fix. We're either gonna get married or we're gonna get divorced. Okay, next thing on the list. The motor, that's the motor that went out at the high service plant. He's got the motor put back on, as quick as VFD comes in, he'll get that pump put back in service. But that motor is a long lasting motor, and it's $11,000 a piece. It was not rebuildable. That's one reason why I want to put the bill in here. If it's been rebuildable, you got to rebuild for about $5,000. And I don't understand how they do those motors, but cut the windings out of them and put them in an oven and cook them and get them back out and check the metal on them. And he said the metal was not good enough for rewind, and so we bought a new motor. Okay. Next thing I have on my list is, for all those of you who want to know what the election cost you, there's your bill, $7,796.79. Okay. All right. Does any of the council have anything else they would like to discuss about? We got 2 in the audience that would like to speak.
I kind of do. We need to look into hiring a mowing crew or something. Start keeping up with some of this, because keeping the guys a little busy as it is, it's hard to get it.
We're
I
not
know
getting,
some of y'all driven around with some of the pump stations and stuff like that, but they need to be.
we're not getting,
Cleaned up.
the time we do leak detection, or do mowing, or we do,
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I would, if I could find somebody that run bush hog, that can run bush hog, would be, I'd like to hire part-time to do a bush hog. I've been looking, but I haven't seen one. If anybody knows one, that's what you'll want to do. Bush hog or air conditioning, not too hot. Pretty cool job. If somebody knows how to run, we can hire somebody that knows how to run.
Something we need to look into, because
If y'all want me to look at it a little more aggressively, I'll start trying to look at it a little more aggressively. Okay? All right, Mark Carmen, your first on the list.
There's just a couple things got entrance blocked during the meeting. Here's the one of them. Okay, about the Trestle Park, okay, I went down there earlier, a couple days ago. There's some, and right around the ramp and all that's pretty high, next to the river is pretty high. But what I was thinking, I'm trying to be, I think there's been people on the citizen side, and there's been people on the huge instances on the administration side have been, the conversations have been divided. And I think everybody needs to be amicable about during these meetings, so public decorum. And, but that's all I have to say about that. Anyway, but there's another one that was the policy, like on the city webpage. When you ask a question, you don't get no reply. Why? Okay, I've asked questions and I've only, actually, I've messaged everybody on Facebook and everything else. I ain't trying to disparage anybody or nothing, but I know everybody's got lives and everything. I'm disabled, so I got more time than most people.
Whereabouts you live at?
I'll live here on the Second Street. I just moved here about 2 weeks ago. But I used to live here and I've had surgery, so I had moved to Hot Springs for a while.
Well, if you get a hold of the city hall, come up here, they can get, if we're off, I'll be glad to meet with you to answer.
Well, that's the thing, I wasn't trying to disparage anybody, and I know everybody.
But we don't communicate through Facebook.
No,
That's not
okay.
a public,
Well,
that's all.
I don't walk very well, so, again, I can't, my driver's license, the bike is.
I understand, I'm just saying, I'll be glad to give my number if you have a question.
Yeah, because the only one I talk too much is, I talk to Alan. It's a friend of mine married to Alan. So, and anyway, but that, I was like, because Terry and Brian,
Yes, sir.
y'all have invited me to y'all's
Cafe.
restaurant before. I don't know if y'all remember who I was.
I don't know who you are. You're more than welcome to come and visit with us.
Well, other than that,
A lot of times on Facebook and stuff like that, honestly, we're busy.
well, I realize that.
Sure.
But I like to be able to set some time when y'all are free and have a amicable conversation. Okay, I ain't gonna holler and scream or nothing like that. Talk just like we're talking here. That's what I think it needs to be more of from citizens and everybody having good communication.
And that's one of the reasons why we're trying to implement that.
I understand.
So that it is like this, so that it is nice and calm, and we can sit and ask questions and answer
Yeah.
questions and stuff like that.
But one other thing, I was thinking just a little tweak, maybe possibly, like when y'all have, like on the line item, okay, when you, like one subject, possibly for a short period of time, have public comment, ask if there's any public comment about each individual subject. Possibly. Okay, I don't know, I ain't trying to delay anything, but I know it's long, meetings are long as it is.
Correct, and that's why we try to implement that 3-minute time and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, we can go all night, and, you know, all of us have jobs, all of us have to go to work, you know, so, and that's really why we do that, you know, we have to try to take a little bit of the information as we possibly can in a respectful manner, and then we have to move on and continue to go.
That's what I'm saying, need to be total respect on both sides, everything. That's all I got to say.
Yes, thank you.
Sharon, you're next.
She ain't here, she left.
She's actually,
She signed and left.
not back, she left the water, and some of the water, but I didn't get it. And she hasn't come back.
Okay.
Anybody else got anything?
Motion and second to adjourn. Roll call, please.
Okay, Chris Woolen.
Aye.
Dennis Martin. Jerry Reed. 8:16, we're adjourned.
Oh, one thing we need to do while y'all are still here. Brenda, you here? Council meeting, next council meeting, and then we need to do a planning session while everybody's here, we've got those two items. Because you're wanting to do, address the dog, look at the dog stuff, the next planning session we'll do is about what's going on with the dogs and how to handle that. And then we'll bring some suggestions to the council, we need a planning session for the dogs, and we need a council meeting date.
If we're gonna do a planning session for the dogs, can I request that your county throw officer be here as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just, y'all tell us a date when y'all can meet and on those two items.
As long as y'all do it, it's between the 4th and the 9th. of this
Yeah,
next
whatever
month, I'm
it is.
good. It's all be on the ocean.
You need a date for the planning session before the council meeting. Y'all need to stick with council meeting date.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I feel like everybody is doing things. I have.
Dress up like Haley.
Well, Thursday, I'm gonna go involved in Friday night.
Do what now? Thursday's fine, it's fine. I am the 4th through the 9th.
What?
Just nowhere near the 4th through the 9th of this next month.
Yes.
How are you?
Okay.
I think, I'm ready. No, Jenkins, that's my niece's son, Kiron.
Oh, I tried to call her Kayla. I got you, yeah.
Well, I used to live over here on First Street years ago, and I had a heart attack and bypass surgery. I've been away for a while, but after I moved back up here, because I want to be close. Brother lived in Kirby Quickstop.
Yeah.
My brother had that. And,
Okay.
I got family all around Kirby
Yeah.
and everywhere.
You kinda got used to the area?
Yeah. Well, we were all originally from Hot Springs, but my brother married the Driggers. So he moved up here. Then my sister married, sorry, piece of shit, Michael Fever. He tried to kill her over at Roadboro several years ago. He shot a 33 rocket right there. He had her hog tied.
Golly.
He went to prison for it.
Well, that may be why I don't know who it is.
Yeah. Now Clark Kinsler is here. He moved Hunt County. They invested down there. I'm just trying to get familiarized with everybody. And I used to know everybody downtown, down City Hall.
Yeah, I'll head up with
Got the new things.
Yeah, it's all kind of changed up a little bit, hasn't it?
So we probably do this week.
We need to put that
Y'all could do, I mean, I guess you could do a planning session 2 hours ahead of the council meeting.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be long, I mean,
Just like it long,
You
but
been on
you
the
do the
11th?
council meeting.
We just do 11 sessions, so that way we can get that bid back in before we get, we gotta call it, I have to call the lawyer.
Yeah.
That would work for me, I would just do the lawyer.
Okay, so let's, yeah, let's write that down. I watched that monkey, he's back before the night, he's back.
Let's do like
And then we'll talk that one.
It wasn't
Go Beaver, he's got COVID.
11th, a Monday.
Yeah.
No, what's that?
11th is a Monday, the next week.
We do that. Okay.
Hey, you know,
Oh,
Y'all doing the 11th and the 19th?
Tentatively 11 to 19 right now.
He said, somebody asked about.
But if he's so long, I already gave you.
Different lines. I'm in a place that they're not doing anything.
We did it.
That's why I didn't know I went this reputation.
That's what we did.
That's why I asked for you, I hadn't seen it.
Well, my sister used to marry the Michael people. Bro,
We did it by the hours of work.
he tried to kill it, shot it, 35 to see her hair. And, anyway, Clark Kinsler,
Well, I don't.
him and Clark County Sheriff.
They may be working.
I'm trying to be nice to everybody. And then, I know things get easy sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm trying to,
I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna have to do.
because I don't want to do that. Something.
You're still, so you're either working.
I have my own.
You're still working to 40.
Seasons.
We all.
There's part-time puppets. Y'all have a good night.
Really?
Trying to get
I'll say we need to.
Okay, good.
That's just the song that we use. I got
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. That might be enough.
Okay. That's all, Alan.
I got the check, I got the check there. I said I'm getting that.
I was worried about you. I forgot you had two phones.